Hey everyone, I'm back again with another time in which I hope can share with you a few things that have been on my mind recently. Specifically, some of the stuff that I'm going to share with you is a result of the last winter storm that just hit Genesee County. And as a result of that storm hitting our county, many of you may or may not know this, but a record was set for our county, and it was the record of the snowiest year ever. Now, I know because I talked with you about this, but some of you were actually cheering that we would reach this record. And while I'm not a big fan of you cheering for that, it happened. So congratulations, you got your wish. I, for one, heading into this winter season, was not hoping that at the end of the season we would be known for this particular record, and yet here we are anyways. In light of this, in light of having such a record being set, in light of looking back at this year and knowing that from this point forward, this year will forever be known as one of the snowiest years ever in Genesee County, I began to think about this in light of church. I often do this. I tie so many different things to church, and I did that with this. And specifically, this whole thing got me to think about what I would want South Baptist Church to be known for after a particular season or year of ministry. You maybe have never thought about that, have you? I think about that often, and so I thought about several things of, if at the end of this ministry year, what would I want our church here to be known for? And certainly at the top of that list, I would want our church to be known as being as having a relevant year of Bible teaching and preaching. See, my desire always is not that people would talk about, man, we just dug so deep into so many different passages and in so many different subject matters in the Bible throughout the year. We get deep into that stuff. But rather, I want us to talk about how we dug deep in such a way that it made an impact in our lives. We got into the Word in such a way that it really became relevant in our lives, and as a result, we're seeing some real lasting change in our lives. I want our seasons of ministry here to impart Bible knowledge that's useful to the different roles of our lives that we find ourselves in on a daily basis. And so I want each year of ministry to be known for having relevant Bible teaching and preaching. I also would like at the end of a year of ministry, a season of ministry, for us to be known by the fact that we were a people who were generous with our time, generous with our energy, generous with our talents, generous with our finances. You see, when we see a good portion of the body being generous in these ways, it's a very good sign that the body of Christ is healthy. And when we don't see that, the very opposite is true. The fact of the matter is that people are generous, people are willing to give of time and energy and talents and finances to that which they love the most in their lives. Therefore, one of the things that I know is that the more people are generous to the church with those different areas of their life, the more they're demonstrating their love for her. So I truly want to be known at the end of a ministry season that we as a church were generous in those areas. We as individuals were generous in those areas. Third, I would love for our church at the end of a ministry season to be known by the fact that we had an effective year of evangelism. And by that I mean we had an effective year of evangelism because it was a result of a courageous year of personal outreach by individuals within the church to their family, to their friends, to their neighbors, to their co-workers, to their teammates and classmates, and anyone else that is in our lives that we have personal connection with. To be known as a church who just has great membership attendance, that's all right, but it's not the most important thing. To have none of our membership invest in lost people's lives and inviting those individuals to church is not something that should make any of us happy. Church should meet some needs in our lives. It definitely should do that. And it should meet needs in the lives of our families and so on. And hopefully that will motivate us to attend consistently. But here's the thing. I think church should also meet the needs in the lives of lost people as well. And if it's meeting the needs of lost people as well, then it should motivate us to invest in the lives of these individuals and invite them to the church in order that they might have the opportunity to hear and to be a part of what the church has for them, so that they can experience hopefully a message that will meet the greatest need in their life. Next, at the end of a ministry season, I would long for our church to be known as having a year of growing community and genuine fellowship among each other. We often say isolated Christians are not healthy Christians. And they're not healthy Christians because if you're isolated, there's no one to help you and I get up when we've fallen spiritually. If we're isolated, there's no one to help keep us warm spiritually. There's no one to help us in our spiritual battles. Therefore, it's not good for us to be isolated. If throughout a season of ministry, those within the church are not developing deeper and stronger community in their lives, chances are, as a church, as a whole, we're going to be spiritually cold and sick. So again, it would be great if at the end of a ministry season at South, one of the things that marked that season was a growing community and a genuine fellowship among one another. Finally, I think it would be great at the end of a ministry season, any ministry season, our church would be known as having a year of tremendous impact to our community. One thing that I'm consistently haunted about in ministry is this question. If at the end of this year, South Baptist Church had to close its doors, would the community care or even notice? Of course, our prayer is that they would, right? But for them to care, that means that it takes a concerted effort and a commitment on our part, a commitment of our time, of our energy, of our resources. The community surrounding our church should absolutely be convinced that we love them and that we want to be of some help to them. And if they're convinced of that, then they may be open to hearing the most important message that we would like to share with them that would again meet the greatest need in their lives. Just as this winter season, I hope, is coming to an end. And I say I hope because who knows the way this winter has gone. But just as this winter season is coming to an end, this particular ministry season is as well, right? Summer is going to be upon us soon. And with summer comes a break from some of our regular ministries. It also means the start of some irregular ones as well. And while it is my desire for our church to be known at the end of this particular ministry season for the things that I just mentioned, the reality is I'm not sure that we can be known for all of them that I mentioned. And here's where I just want to spend a little bit of time doing some evaluation with you, and bear with me on this and keep an open mind. See, while I'm confident that this has been a year of relevant Bible teaching and preaching, as well as a year in which growing community and genuine fellowship among each other has taken place, I'm not so confident that at the end of this year, we can be known for our generosity of our time, generosity of our energy and talents and finances. It's not to say that we're not generous. There are plenty of people who are, but as a whole, I think we could be doing better. Let me just give you one example of why I lack some of that confidence in this area. Just recently, we asked the men of our church to fill out a form, and this form informs us of areas that they are gifted and would be willing to use those gifts to help us around our facilities and to help those within our church who have a need. And unfortunately, the response to this request hasn't been great. And so what does this tell us? Well, it tells us a couple of different things, or it leads us to believe at least a couple of different things. Number one, it leads us to believe that either we have a bunch of ungifted men in our church, or we have a bunch of men unwilling to admit their gifts and use them within the church. And I'm not sure, men, which one should cause us to be more upset, right? In light of that, I'm not so confident that this ministry season we can be known for that. I'm also not so confident that at the end of this year we can be known for having an effective year of evangelism as a result of being courageous in our personal outreach to family and friends and neighbors, coworkers, and so on. Yes, we've seen several visitors here at church, and a lot of those visitors have been as a result of an invite by someone else within the church. But many of those visitors we haven't seen stay or become a part of the church. We also know of only one public confession of faith this year. This is not to say that there hasn't been more, but we only know of one. And listen, I'm going to be the first to admit that I'm not always a help to the church being known for this particular thing. I don't spend enough time with those who need Christ. I don't have enough spiritual conversations in my life with lost people, and I'm not inviting people enough to join us at church. We all could stand to do a better job in this particular area of our lives, I think, and that would help our church to be known even better for this in the seasons of ministry to come. Finally, I'm not 100% convinced and confident in the fact that at the end of this year, we can be known for having an impact to our community. We've reached out to our community in several different ways, but I'm just not convinced that they were effective ways. And so as a result, one of the things that I'd like for us to do is bring back the local outreach committee here at our church, and the sole purpose of this committee is to help our church family have a greater impact to our community around us. If you've listened to this vlog up to this point, then hey, that's great. And more importantly, if you would like to be a part of this committee, then you can feel free to contact me and let me know. I'd love to have you be a part of it with me. This ministry season is coming to an end. And so we'll see some of our regular ministries fade off for the summer, but ministry here at South will not end. There's still much planned for you to serve in and be a part of this summer, and we'll let you know what some of those things are in the coming weeks. And Lord willing, beginning in September, a new season of ministry will be upon us. And so here's what I'm asking us to do from now until September. Not just get involved this summer, but would you please join me in praying now for our church and this coming season of ministry so that we might be known for all the things that I have talked about. I mean, if we can be known for those things, listen, it's exciting to think about the kind of ministry we could have this next year. So join me, serve with me, and pray with me.